Hi, everyone. Welcome to Our Disabled Future, a series where disabled voices lead the way. I'm your host, Nico, and it is a good day for disability inclusion. Each day, during Disability Pride Month and beyond, I'm amplifying real disabled stories, where we are, where we want to go, and how the heck we're going to get there. Together, I hope. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Anna. Hi, Anna. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Nico. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Of course, tell us about yourself and about your disabled life.
Sure, so I can do that. So I am Anna. I'm 36 years old. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I have lived with disability pretty much my entire life. I have a neurodegenerative, degenerative neuromuscular disease that I was diagnosed with when I was around 3 or 4, and I stopped being able to walk when I was 10. So I've used a mobility scooter my pretty much all of my through adolescence and my adult life. So disability has always just been a piece of my story. Um, and I've always lived with the thought that I could do anything I set my mind to. And my parents instilled that in me. And I went off to college and I graduated, and then I tried to find a job. And it wasn't easy. And remote working wasn't so much of a thing at the time. So I would go on interview after interview, and someone was always a better fit for the job. And eventually, after a while, that does something to you. It took a toll on my self-esteem, my self-worth. Um, but after a few years, I was able to find a remote role. I applied, I interviewed, I didn't mention that I was disabled, and I got the job, no problem. And this happened a few more times. I had no problem getting opportunities to work when people didn't know I was disabled, which was I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna hide this part of myself. So I did for a while. And then I eventually found a role at the company I work for now. And everything changed because I didn't feel like I had to hide. I was able to bring my whole self to work. And I was empowered from some of our leaders to found an ERG, an employee resource group for individuals with disabilities, which I had no idea what I was doing when I started. And it was the best decision I ever could have made. It's been the most fulfilling journey where we're about to turn 5 years old later this year. We've gone from 18 members to almost 1,800. So we have this really incredible, diverse community of individuals with disabilities, their lived experiences, allies, and everything in between. So there's a little bit about my story and why this space is important to me.
Anna, thank you so much. I love learning more about your journey through disability. Let's turn our face to the future now. What does a disability-friendly future look like for you?
Yeah, so when I think about a disability-friendly future, um, when I mentioned, I grew up with a disability. I wasn't around other people with disabilities, so I was just aware of my needs. But being the person who founded an ERG for people with disabilities, I have been made aware of the diversity of disability, and that we all have vastly different needs, that a lot of times the world isn't great about accommodating or creating accessibility for. So I think that there's two parts to this. One is I want to look at the the position of disability and help reframe it, for those who don't have disabilities, because at some point in their life, they are more than likely going to experience some sort of disability or have a loved one experience disability. So the more awareness we can have and help people understand that disability isn't some tragedy. There's joy and love and laughter and resilience. And yes, there are challenges, but there's also a lot of workarounds. So I think that the more the community and the world can understand and advocate and be allies for disability, and that it's so much bigger than what people often think of. And then from a community perspective, the second thing would be all of us with our diverse needs coming together, because we have so much diversity in the disability inclusion community, but we're all kind of siloed. We have spinal cord injury, we have the deaf community, we have the community of individuals under the neurodivergence umbrella, we've got mental health, we've got mobility or wheelchair users like myself, we've got chronic conditions, like that list goes on. And we're all kind of like just doing our own thing. But I think there would be so much more power of us coming together as a community, and being able to support each other and and just move that power forward, as a united front rather than being siloed, because we're going to get a lot more done together than we are individually.
I really respect and want to co-sign that call for greater disabled unity and greater disability inclusion at the beginning of a planning process rather than as a baked-in afterthought. 100%. Here's the kicker, though. What strategies do we use to attain that future? How exactly do we get there? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think that I don't have all the answers, but I do think that what you're doing by bringing different disabled perspectives together, like this is a really good start of sharing unique lived experiences and sharing the vast diversity of everyone's needs, that you're pulling together for Disability Pride Month. Um, and then how do we move that forward? I think that one place is finding community. I've personally found a lot of professional development opportunities and opportunities to advocate and increase awareness, like I mentioned earlier, on LinkedIn by connecting with other disability inclusion advocates. So I think that that's one way to kind of connect. That networking piece is so important to be able to reach other parts of the community and then find ways to champion together, to move this work forward. But I think what you're doing today with this work is very important and needed.
Thanks. I appreciate your kind words. All right, Anna. As our time together today draws to a close, I want to give you a chance that you and I, as disabled people, rarely get, and that's a chance to brag about yourself. Be your own cheerleader. Maybe you have something cool that you want to promote you just completed, or you still have something in progress. This is just your space to really step up onto your own soapbox. Let's hear it.
Thanks, Nico. I appreciate the opportunity to promote what I have going on. So, 3 ways that people can find me and keep up with my adventures. So, from more of a professional development standpoint, what I have going on in my career, and the board of directors for the Center for Disability Inclusion. That's a role that I hold. I will promote the Center for Disability Inclusion all day. They're a great organization. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Anna Schmid. From a more personal standpoint, what's going on in my everyday life, some of my accessible travel adventures, and my partnership with Will, which is a mobility company. I have a mobility scooter with them that I'm a brand ambassador. So you'll see me out in the world taking pictures, living my best life with my Will Model R. That you can find me on Instagram at lovelylotus247. And last but not least, super excited to announce my recently launched Substack. I launched it this month for Disability Pride Month. It's called Between the Lines with Lovely Lotus. Please follow me. It'll be a really in-depth look at my lived experience, but it's more of the raw, the real, the things I don't talk about on LinkedIn. But they're the kind of things that I think people want to know about, and they want to be able to educate themselves. That and burnout. I talk about mental health a lot, and just balance is so necessary and also hard to attain, and it's really easy to burn out. So I talk about my experience with that as well. So Between the Lines with Lovely Lotus on Substack would be the third way to find me.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to put some of those links in the video description when we post this video. Thank you so much for your time, Anna. Of course.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, tune in next time. Remember, this is Our Disabled Future, and we're building it one day at a time together. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Bye.